I've started. So coming up on this session, this is obviously part of our multi-cloud for you commitment to discuss on multiple cloud platform, and this is DigitalOcean. We'll discuss today about DigitalOcean, how to use it, how to create droplet, how to use the different feature of DigitalOcean, and how to automate things around, how to claim free credit on DigitalOcean platform. There is almost $100 free credit that you can use for 2 months. Create 8 GB memory and at least 2 to 4 core CPU virtual VM Ubuntu or Linux VM free. So that's a great thing, and you can experiment, learn, and I will give you some challenges also during this session so that you are able to well acknowledge and understand on the topic concept, and you are able to use DigitalOcean in your project wherever it's needed. And why DigitalOcean, I will also let you know. So this topic is working with DigitalOcean Cloud and Droplets. I am Anjani Kumar. I will be giving this session. This is the part of our cloud learning session. This is a free session, and our membership is also free. If you sign up to our website, it's free. Anyone can join. And then as membership is more like we try to inform the people on different session that coming up, and that's only the reason is that we ask people to sign up. This session is around cloud migration. This is the part and extension to our cloud migration session, so that we should enable people from to understand different cloud platform, so that when they do the cloud migration, they are or process, or they're starting with the cloud, they have got a lot of thing in their vanity to play with. You can watch our session as multicloudforyou.com/stream, and this is not just cloud. We stream a lot on big data, data science, deep learning, machine learning, and blockchain. So coming up to the next, this is Anjani Kumar. I am Anjani Kumar. I have multi decades of direct service to the IT industry. I am ex-publicist, RBS, Microsoft, and I have worked with multiple companies in the past. I am an inventor, leader, mentor, founder, and enabler. This is my LinkedIn profile. You can connect to me. And I'm part of Multi-Cloud for You as a principal evangelist. And I'm also the one of the founding member and the founder. So there's a that, as I said, like you just have to go multicloudforyou.com/m/create account, and you can create your account. If you find any issue, you can reach out to help and FAQ page, which is there on the site, easily navigable. You can go there, and we have help. We have written down all each and every try to answer all the each and every query of the person who can have. You can also scan it directly to the register. And you can also check that how the engineering work, even this broken QR code would work. And if you are able to scan it, you will be able to directly go to the registration page, and everything is free. We mostly stream our session on data science, AI, Saturday at 12:30 p.m. IST. Azure, whenever you do 7:30 p.m. IST. AWS, whenever you do 8:30 p.m. IST. Power Platform, to cover up the US and other region, we do it 9:30 p.m. IST, Power Platform, React, Angular kind of sessions. And mostly the multi-cloud sessions happens on 11:30 p.m. IST or 11:30 p.m. IST Sunday, which is for Alibaba Cloud. Why are we doing this session specifically? Because we are a DigitalOcean partner. We are their authorized solution partner, and we have got the extensive understanding of their platform. And as part of multi-cloud for you, we are committed to give frugal solution to our community, and to the community who joins or to the people who are interested in the cloud. And that's the reason why we are doing it. As a authorized solution partner, it's also our responsibility to bring awareness about this platform and what is the good and bad about the platform, that we can discuss and help technologies to easily work on or get onboarded on DigitalOcean. So agenda for today, our today's agenda is like I will be talking about DigitalOcean platform, how we can create a free account, claim your free credit, different type of droplets. Droplets is nothing but the virtual machine. So in DigitalOcean we call it droplets. How can you host non-Linux container? DigitalOcean, and there are few platforms which are mostly meant for Linux container only or Linux virtual machine only. But let's say if you are more like a Windows geek, right? You need to host a Windows server. How you can host it? I'll give you a trick. I will not dive deep a little, but I will give you a trick and give you practice point to practice it, and whenever the next session happen, we can discuss on the same. Using API to create droplets and manage your droplet or manage your VM, manage your the complete DigitalOcean platform. So you can automate the whole DigitalOcean platform with the API that DigitalOcean provide, and there are API that DigitalOcean provide to connect to your S3 account or other cloud platforms, so that you can directly intermingle and play with it. Q&A will be as usual. Um, so DigitalOcean platform is almost like another cloud platform, maybe AWS, Azure, but I think they are huge, much huge. But most of the thing that you use on a cloud platform at a infrastructure as a service level and partly platform as a service level um, is there on DigitalOcean. And the benefit of using DigitalOcean versus other cloud platform is like the way they charge is like this is good for the person who go for subscription. So bandwidth and everything get clubbed and charged. So there will be a monthly charge that will come up, and you will not see much surprise. If you see their price to performance ratio that removes the complexity from your monthly bill, you'll see that DigitalOcean ranks around 180, Google ranks around 82, and AWS rank around 76. And this is because at the final cost, which include bandwidth, storage, and everything, you will find DigitalOcean as less costlier than other. What are the product available? There is a managed Kubernetes. You can easily create your Kubernetes cluster. Managed database. There is managed database, SQL Server, and other available. There are few databases available. Few you may have to bring on your own or set up on your own. There is CDN, content delivery network available. Team management you can do, and there is a global availability. So it has data center in almost all part of the world, even in India. In India, it's there in Bangalore. So how do you create a free DigitalOcean account? So the best thing is you can use this link mdoco/c, and this is the URL. And how do you get it? So you can directly get it through this web page. So if you go here, let me just give me a moment. So if you go here and try to use the link on the browser. Hello everybody, those who joined recently. Thank you for joining. So you will be greeted with this page. So the best thing is I will also help you on how to connect to the site and find out. So the best is to open a new incognito window if you have already gone to our website and didn't and forget to accept the cookie page. This may give you an error. So just click this link and you will be greeted with this cookie policy. Accept and close. If you have your account, well and good. If you don't have your account, you can create your account. If you don't have created your password, you can create it. Once you are there, it will direct you to that page once you log in. And if it doesn't direct you, you can directly go and click the links which are here at the top. And now you just have to click. Like we'll keep on adding more offers. We have multiple offers. We haven't added it, but we'll add it. We promise that by next week we'll add all the offer that we have for different cloud platform, exams, coupon, and all, so that you can easily claim it. Claim it now free. So once you go there, you come to the DigitalOcean. You create your account. You will have to give your credit card detail. It will charge you $1 and then it will cash back. And then within a day or something, once you verify your account, you will get that $100 credit. How it will show up, I will show you once. I will give you a login. You can use your Google account, but I would suggest use your separate email address and then work. But there's no issue using GitHub or Google. Okay, so let me close this for now, and let us move to the slide. And then I will once I go to the demo page, I will explain everything. So let me. Okay. So I was here. We have already discussed about it. We have discussed about how to claim your $100 credit and how we'll see it, how we'll I will come to that. So they have DigitalOcean have different type of droplet, and this is not just DigitalOcean. All the cloud platform have different type of virtual machine. Droplet is virtual machine. Okay. So standard is one which is shared. So 1 to 32 virtual CPU is there. 1 to 192 GB of RAM is there for a standard. I will explain you what is the difference between a standard general purpose CPU optimized and memory optimized, and where do you actually use it, and how do you actually can understand to find out that what is the best way, and when should I choose what actually. So if you are trying to design your infrastructure at the first time, you don't know how do you start on it, and how in the further how you define that, okay, now this is the time I should use CPU optimized um, uh, kind of droplet or the virtual machine. This is almost similar strategy for all the cloud vendor which are there: AWS, Amazon, AWS, Azure, Alibaba Cloud, Google, or DigitalOcean, or maybe any Tom, Dick, and Harry. CPU optimized, memory optimized, general purpose, standard, right? So there are different options which are available, and the processor also is being given. And I will also explain you the difference between it. So there is 240 virtual CPU. So you can see that here at the first one in the standard is 1 to 32 virtual CPU. But when you go to the general purpose, at least the minimum requirement is at least you need 2 core or 2 virtual CPUs to work with. Now let's go into a standard. So a standard is meant for like when you are starting something, when you are not directly migrating something, or maybe you are trying to create your landing zone, testing your cloud migration first. So and then you can do a load test and see how my application is actually performing, what type of different scenario can happen, and based on that you can define which type of droplet or which type of VM that I need to use. So standard is mostly meant for low traffic web server. It also costs very less. Blocks, discussion forum, content management system, small databases, dev test servers, microservices, repository hosting. And what is the difference? So if I talk about difference, yeah, Paroj, I will open up the Q&A session once it ends. It will take me another 15-20 minute max with the demos. So dedicated CPU droplet have guaranteed access to the fully hyper-thread at all times. So let's say VM, virtual machine, or droplet, obviously, that's a hyper virtualization, and that works that has a hyper-threading level, right? So when they give you a dedicated CPU droplet, the hyper-thread is meant to be used for your need. If you're not using it, it will be dedicated for you. With a shared CPU, which is a part of the standard droplet, with the shared CPU droplet, the hyperthread allocated to the droplet may be shared between multiple other droplets. So let's say if your server is using less, consuming less processing power, then automatically it will be given, those hyperthreads will be given to another droplet or the VM which are consuming more CPU. So sometime when the load increases, your CPU or your droplet may not perform well or in the same manner as it would have performed when it would have got the dedicated CPU, because there was some hyperthread allocated reserved for you, and you were able to use it whenever the need arises. But here it may struggle a little, but still the performance is much better. I haven't seen much issues for small kind of work. That's why your standard is there. But at least good. It's also good for testing purpose. Before you actually settle down on any cloud platform, try to use the basic set of virtual machine, ECS, or uh, or droplet, which is available there, and then do a test, maybe a load test, and see what is actually picking up. Is the CPU picking up? Is the memory RAM picking up? Or how your system is behaving? And based on that, choose the best in the future to save costs and be frugal. Next is, so as I said, dedicated CPU general purpose droplet. That was another one, which is mostly for medium to high traffic web server, e-commerce site, medium sized databases, enterprise software as a service. If you're building a software as a SaaS product, you can use dedicated CPU. But again, I would suggest based on your need, if you are a startup, you can start with general purpose. When the load arises, you can anytime upgrade it. But you can be ready to choose later what do I choose and what is my most preferred thing and what will be the best option for me. And it actually uses Xeon Skylake processor, which have a 2.7 gigahertz base clock speed and max turbo frequency of 3.7 gigahertz. Dedicated CPU memory optimized. So as I said, like the high performance SQL or NoSQL databases where you need a lot of cache data, so that every time the query happen, it does not happen directly on the files or on the storage, but it can be picked from cache, RabbitMQ kind of thing. Wave scale in memory cache and indexes, real-time big data processing. But doing some real-time big data processing, go for it. If you will have to go for a dedicated CPU memory optimized droplet. Memory optimized droplet means there are more memory available for each virtual CPU. So for with 8 GB of RAM for each virtual CPU, it's a huge amount of memory to be used. Let's say you have 4 virtual CPU, you have 32 GB of RAM. So obviously the caching power, the performance will improve because there is not much processing need which is there. For a database call, it's more like pick up the data from here and there, collect it, join it, and then give it. If there are more calculation happening, then you will have to go on the different option, which is CPU optimized. And this is more for machine learning and all. Obviously, GPU is not as usual here as is available on Google Cloud Platform, on AWS, Alibaba Cloud. So GPU you will not see an option for. So for it, this is for most of your productionized work where you have already done most of your research on Google Colab or other higher platform, and now you have optimized all your machine learning activity, and now you see that this much activity can be done without a GPU processor. It's just optimized, CPU optimized, then you can use it. So here the CPU performance will increase, memory will be little less. How can you host non-Linux container? As I said, DigitalOcean platform or many such platform that has been developed in parallel, and they are much strong in their own space, is known for hosting Linux container, and their performance is fantastic. The way you work with Linux container is fantastic, and obviously it's one of the best in the class if you're trying to host your Linux server or Linux based application. But when it comes to Windows, it does not gives you an option directly, but there is an option. You can create a VM in your Linux droplet, and then you can host your Windows server there, and then you can do all your activity as it is. Or you can use this blog. This is written by someone. Hi, Rishi. I will give you an option. Just coming up to demo, and then we'll give you an option to talk on in the Q&A session. You can ping me if you have any question, specific question. So let me go to this blog. This blog is written by a gentleman. He has done a fantastic job, and gives a lot of option on training and other thing also. I'm not advertising him. I just went randomly and saw his blog, and I felt it good. So by default, so there is an option, create a droplet. Simply click on the create button, DigitalOcean, and once you create the droplet, and you have to turn off the droplet, and then set up the droplet in recovery mode. And these all options are there on the dashboard or the console. I will show you. Enter interactive shell. Once you're there in the interactive shell, download and install window. Once the window is there, boot from hard disk, configure setting, and done. You are able to run it. So through Linux also there is a way to work on the Windows server here. And this I will give you as a task before we do the next session in the next month on DigitalOcean. And I will ask you specifically if you repeat this session, that if you have done this work or not, or else I will show you how to do it. So now coming back to the platform. So coming back to the slide. it's demo now. So let me go back to the platform. The first thing that we did is like we created the account. Once you create the account, let me log in again. So once you create the account, you will go and you will see that there is a project section. You have to create a project. In Google also you have to create a project. So you create a new project, DigitalOcean session. You can give the description, define the purpose. Just trying out DigitalOcean, create project. Now move resources into DigitalOcean. You can move the resources or skip for now. So you see, I have, so you are seeing that there is a 0 uses, but I have a free credit here. If I go into my billing screen, $100. So once I use it or whenever my VM, like it will charge per day, it will automatically deduct the money. So now coming back to the platform, I have this Ubuntu running. I will show you there, but I will try to create a new one. So get started with a droplet. So this is one which was our initial purpose, and I will take you also through the Kubernetes dashboard in a brief. So Ubuntu, FreeBSD, Fedora, Debian, CentOS. Let's go with the famous one, Ubuntu. Then there is $40 per month. You see, 8 GB, 4 CPU, 160 GB SSD disk, 5 TB transfer. $40 per month is almost 3,000 or something. And it depends upon, do you need this or you need a other one, the smaller one. So there is an option. So fewer plan, more. So there is a 5-month, $7 per month. So we just have to do the testing. I will go for 1 GB, 25 GB SSD disk, 100 GB transfer. This is $5 month. Most of your application can run in this $10 per month droplet. So it will cost you around 300 rupees or 400 rupees per month, where you can run most of your basic container application and all of these things. If you're able to run it and optimize your run at $5 month, that's great. But $10 or $15 a month would mostly work for you. 50 GB SSD disk is great. 2 DB transfer is almost, it will handle most of your use cases. Being a startup, but when the load increases, you can upgrade it anytime. You can see here, as I said about, the standard is the shared one. General purpose, CPU optimize and memory optimize. The cost will increase. This general purpose goes 8 GB is $60. Is only $20 extra. CPU optimize it again the same. Memory optimize is $90 because obviously memory costs a lot, and this is for specifically for hosting high scalable SQL Server databases or Oracle database or anything. But in most of the cases to start with, general purpose would work. So it should not be an issue. Let's go with the standard here. This is $5. I created droplet. So you see here, there's an option how to cluster database. So this is a Kubernetes cluster. You can create a database cluster, volume, domain, cloud firewall, floating. So and again, the way you create VPC or virtual private network, here also you can define everything. But I'm skipping that out. It's not that. It's not part of the course, part of the discussion today. So now I will go and see at which data center or region that I need to create. I will choose Bangalore. So do I need anything? No. A more secure authenticated method, SSH key. So SSH key is to connect you directly from your local machine. You can use the password option also, or you can generate a new SSH key. So I will simply give you an example. I will not save it. I've already saved this SSH RSA. So I will say new SSH key. If you have, if you are using a Mac, you can use your command prompt or terminal to use it. For here, you will have to do puttyjan. Once you go to the puttyjan, this is an app. You can download it from internet, Putty, and Putty will also give you a puttyjan, putty key generator app with you. So say generate me a public and private key pair. So I will say, and I have to use this randomizer. I just have to move my mouse here, and once I move my mouse, I get this key. I select it. So let me select it. I will keep the private key with me. Save the, I will have to save the private key into a file, save the public key into a file, and whatever the public key that has been generated, I will, this is asymmetric key encryption, right? This is RSA key that I have generated. So this is a default option. I am not choosing any complex thing here. Once it is there, I put a name test2 add SSH key. So now I have two SSH key, test2 and test1. So I will simply say no, use this Windows machine, the last one. Once it is there, I have created one droplet, DigitalOcean session, enable backup, it will charge me. I will say no, create droplet. Once I do a create droplet, it will come up with this option. So it's now it's creating the droplet. I will take you through the all different section and work of droplet, how to connect with from the client machine. In the meanwhile, what I will do once this droplet is during the time this droplet is created, I have already created one droplet as a test, and I will try to show you how to connect it from your local machine. See, there is a public IP is already there. This is the IP to connect to the droplet, and then I created this droplet in the morning today. It's 1 GB, 25 GB disk, and everything is there. If you have a what do you say, if you want to see about the bandwidth, and this is what I was talking about, graph. So once you create your droplet and start doing a test, you will have to, you can easily see what is picking up. Is the CPU picking up? Disk IO picking up? If disk IO is picking up, obviously you need more memory. If CPU is picking up, you need CPU optimized droplet. So this is the basic criterion, basic thing to understand. What is picking up at the peak load when you do some test, while when you have installed your or hosted your application on this virtual machine, whatever that picks up for a prolonged duration, that's your next candidate. That should be your next upgrade, either CPU optimized or the disk optimized, or you can keep things running as usual. You can just simply add up more machines of the similar type and then manage your load. That's called horizontal scaling. Similarly, networking. So you can enable private network, you can public network, firewall. So it's almost similar to any other cloud platform is there. You can resize your droplet, CPU and RAM, this CPU and RAM. You can resize, you can take backup, you can take snapshots. You can check about the kernel history. When did you create it? Tags are everywhere. So tag is more about the billing and there are multiple things that you can operate with a tag. If there is something happened, that can go to the recovery, boot from a recovery ISO, boot from hard drive. There's one good thing about DigitalOcean, that even if you have a droplet, even if you have VM on your machine, you can create an ISO copy of the VM and directly upload it to DigitalOcean, and that will run. But that should be a Linux VM, or you will have to use the same trick that I said about the Windows VM. So you go into the test, and then you say so boot from hard drive, boot from recovery. This is for recovery. So now I will go again into the VM directly. Go again to the VM directly, and then I will say this is my IP address. I have to connect with it. I will go to PuTTY. So here I have already saved this DigitalOcean. Just wait. Sorry guys, there was a call. Yes, so I went to the PuTTY. And you see I have saved this DigitalOcean. I will show you how to save it. So there is an option to save it. You can create your where do you need to put your IP address is here. So whatever the IP address that you get here, you copy it and you have to put it into the like this. And then you have to go here into the SSH key and then go inside the SSH key and go inside the auth option. You see here, then you browse your private key wherever you saved your private key. It will come like this. Whatever you keep the name for the private key, it will show you that putty private key file is there. Select it. So this is your private key. This is you will be using to connect to the server. So now again, once you have already done it, you can go into the data section, and then you can define the user. So basically for the Linux, most of the machine root is the primary user. This is all the setting you have to do, and it will work. I'll go here. I will choose the saved one, DigitalOcean. Just let me load that first and then open up, then you will be able to see that. DigitalOcean load. So I have loaded it. So everything has come up. SSH, secure shell host name is here. If I go here into data, root is defined. If I go into the SSH key, into the auth section, I will see this private key is loaded. And now what I will do is I will open up. So once I open up, it's trying to connect to my terminal. And I am here. So I will simply pass ALS command and see what happens. I created one directory, it's here. So you can see it's connected, and you can play with your server the way you want. I'm closing this up, and my session will get closed. Now when I come to the DigitalOcean, this is also been created, and this I can like open it and do the same process as I did it for the last one. This is all for Droplet. Now let's go into the API. Okay, I will take you to the one more thing, which is like cluster, Kubernetes cluster. Just a brief overview about it. So you can create a Kubernetes cluster in Bangalore, in San Francisco, Zone 1 or Zone 2. And once you try to choose it, you can have the pool name, define the pool name. Then you have a standard node, and then it will cost you $10 per month per node with 2 GB memory and 1 virtual CPU. And at least at the minimum, you need 3 nodes. If you need, you can work with 1 node, but the best setting is 3 node at the minimum anywhere you try to set up, and that will cost you $30 per month. If you want to run everything on the single node, it will work, but a minimum of 2 node is required because there are a lot of master plane and other thing that you have to set up. You add a tag, create your cluster, and then play with it. We'll set up another session describing about Kubernetes. If you need to understand fast on Kubernetes, there is a session on our site which is like creating, working with Kubernetes on Alibaba Cloud. It will give you almost all the concept how the container and Kubernetes get connected, and how you can easily run a Kubernetes cluster on a cloud platform like Alibaba. And similar thing can be replicated on the other platform, but this may be a little difficult than what Alibaba has done or other cloud vendor has done, because you will have to do a little bit of manual work here also. On that Alibaba cloud platform, which is almost everything is automated. I will show you where it's available. So I will go to multi-cloud for you. Evangelism, and then there are a lot of sessions. Kubernetes Alibaba Cloud. So this is the one which you need to click. Again, it will ask you for login. Don't worry about that. You just have to log in, and then you'll be able to access it. And this is the session. Okay, you can have a watch of it later on. Now I would come to API to see the way you access the API on any other platform. You can generate multiple tokens. You can also define RAM access and work on it. Not so extensive as AWS or Alibaba Cloud or most of the major cloud vendor are, but it will mostly solve your problem. OAuth application, you can bring in OAuth tool and attach it with access. You can define your complete console and you can play with it. So now token keys, you generate your token, and so I have created already, but anyway I will regenerate it, edit. I have this code. If I update this token or regenerate this token, another token will get generated, right? Because I have to demo it, I will not go inside it. And there are different type of API. So there is one DigitalOcean API and there is one space API. What is a space API? let me take you. Let's say if you are working on a multi-cloud platform, and if you have all your data being hosted in AWS S3, you don't have to directly access write code to access the data on your DigitalOcean platform through AWS 3 API. You can create a space API. It will give you a key, and once you can directly play with a space API to connect to your AWS S3 containers. So that's the beauty of it. Now let's come back to API area, and then DigitalOcean API is there, which is more around requests, HTTP status, responses, meta. There's account API, there are droplet limit, floating IP limit, email, UID, email verified, etc. I will try to run one API and show you how it works. Balance, you can manage your billing and everything. You can also create product based on DigitalOcean for your own in-purpose cloud hosting. Block storage action, attach a volume to your droplet. You can do everything. Remove a volume from a droplet. You can automate everything. CDN endpoint, certificates, container registry, database. There's a container registry API. You can use that API to register build your container register to the container registry of DigitalOcean. Databases. Create a new database cluster. Retrieve an existing database cluster. List firewall rule. Configure a database cluster maintenance window. You can manage a lot of things. Retrieve SQL mode, MySQL, retrieve the eviction policy, PostgreSQL. So there's a detailed connection pool even given for PostgreSQL. Now for Droplet, because that's core to this topic today. So for Droplet, you can do a lot of things. List all kernel, retrieve an existing droplet by IT, list all droplet. I will try to run this. So there is a command also, an example also given. This is a curl command. I have already opened up this curl command here. So I will simply, curl is mostly there on your Windows System 32, or you will have to download the curl from the internet and run it. If you are using on Mac, obviously curl is there, but anyway, you have to download it and then set that up. So I have copied this command. I have this key. I will simply run it, and I will see that now I have 2 VMs. It will show me 2 VMs. So see, this is a JSON data. We can anyway test it anywhere, but there is new one. Name is name of the machine is this, and there will be another one, obviously. This is we'll have to take it to a JSON formatter. Let's try. JSON to CSV. Let's see if this is correct. So again, this is the single one coming because I must have used only one account, test account. You see here droplet image and every detail is given you there. So you get everything, and then you can play with it, run query, create this, drop the droplet or increase the size, do whatever you want. So this is all for the session today. I will open up the mic for people to question on anything if they have. Oh my god, wait. Lot of voice. Just ping me and I will open up the mic for specific question. So if anyone have any question, you can just ping in the chat window. I've opened up, and I'm opening up the Facebook page also. Let's see if someone has some chat window there. Switch. Any questions, guys? Okay, so I don't see any question. But anyway, you can ping me anytime, connect with me anytime. Know more about the platform. If you have any issues, you can take help from me. So no issues on anything. Thank you for joining. and stay tuned for another 15 minutes, and we have another session which is on data science by Bhaskar Tripathi coming up. And that's a fantastic session, specifically if you talk about swarm intelligence, open swarm AI, and how do you do complete optimization algorithm when you do some machine learning work. So thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. Have a nice day and stay safe.